The U.S. is expected to hit its $31.4 trillion debt limit today.
Hitting the limit would prevent the government from making the payments it has committed to and could throw the global economy into a tailspin.
Yellen has outlined a plan to delay the resulting default until the summer. Now, if McCarthy is not able to wrangle his conference and reach an agreement with Democrats to raise that debt ceiling soon, millions of Americans are likely to face financial hardship. Joining us now to weigh on this looming potential crisis is Illinois Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley. He is joining us by phone this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, a lot of people are hearing about all of this, but they have a lot of questions because it could be very complicated. What would happen if the U.S. is defaulting on this debt? How does it affect each and every American?
Sure. Well, it's never happened before, so I look to the words of President Ronald Reagan when he said the full consequences of a default or even the prospect of a default are impossible to predict and awesome to contemplate. I would imagine that the economy could very likely tank and worldwide markets would be thrown into chaos. The dollar is the standard across the world. If the specter of the United States not being able to meet its obligations would throw us and the world into real economic turmoil.
So with as much effort as it even took for Kevin McCarthy to become Speaker, do you think now that he can get all of his party together and work with the Democrats in order to get this across so that we don't have this chaos to take place?
Well, sure. I think the situation is this. I think there are centrist Republicans that I work with on a day-to-day basis who understand that you can't let this happen. They listen to the Business Roundtable, which is, they represent the CEOs of some of our nation's largest companies saying you can't let this happen. I just don't think he can get his outer friends to act responsibly here. So the answer is there in the short term, and that is there are enough centrist Republicans and Democrats that can pass a clean measure to suspend the debt ceiling at the very least until we have an attempt to address this long term. And that did happen. I mean, mind you, it was under President Obama in 2010. You might remember the Simpson-Bowles Commission, which came up with a detailed bipartisan bicameral plan to reduce the debt long term. And it finally came over to the House in another form of Cooper-Latourette, that was called. Only 38 members of the House voted for it. I was one of them, but it's time to contemplate that. But you can't address this with the sword of Damocles hanging over your head. You have to act responsibly, get past the partisan part of this, and address the real concerns.
Congressman Quigley, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for calling in. A question for you: still riding that bike around D.C.?
In D.C. and Chicago, walking and mass transit and bikes are the best way to go.
I hear you. Thank you, sir. Have a good one. We'll be right back.